What did the panel think of Trump's stint as fry cooker at McDonald's? And it's, I already addressed this. It's like they see him differently.
I think it's brilliant. I think it's brilliant.
Yes.
I think when you have somebody who is a world famous superstar, who's a billionaire, et cetera, and they do something you don't expect, it's brilliant media. And I think we gotta acknowledge that this guy is beating the pants off of us with these so-called publicity stunts. It gets into everybody's feeds, and people who are not looking at politics will look at that. I think we just have to have more fun ourselves. We were having a great time during the Democratic convention. If we have more fun, if the Democratic Party is a party of fun, people will join it. We should be doing crazy stuff too.
Bill Maher set off a political firestorm on a recent episode of Real Time when he went head-to-head with a guest over what he saw as an excessively woke argument. Maher didn't hold back. He pushed hard, demanding clear logic, and his relentless questions eventually forced the guest to stumble and backtrack. Even Van Jones, a seasoned political analyst, looked caught off guard by the intensity of the exchange. The conversation covered several hot-button issues, but Maher kept his focus on one theme: calling out what he views as a hypocrisy in certain progressive circles. He wasn't preaching extremes, just a need for balance. The moment perfectly highlighted Maher's trademark style, cutting through easy narratives with sharp, real-time questioning that makes people rethink their assumptions on the spot.
Watch the full discussion to witness how Ma's challenging questions guide his guest to reconsider their stance in real time.
All right, for the panel, what does the panel think of Trump doing Joe Rogan's podcast today, and is it a mistake for Kamala not to do it? Yeah, I think it is a mistake. I think it's a mistake she didn't do this show.
Yeah, did you invite her?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. No, we didn't invite her.
Of course she should.
We would have bumped you for her. I hate to tell you.
Yeah, I do some time, I hope, but I know she's going to be campaigning in Texas. I hope she does the podcast. I think the more people see of Kamala Harris, the more they like her. She needs to get out there. I think some of that is a staff reticence that they have because of Joe Biden, which you couldn't put out there. We understand that. You can put her out there. She's terrific. She's likable. She's joyous. She's fun. She's clever. Get her out there.
Tension spiked the moment Donald Trump and Joe Rogan entered the conversation. Maher zeroed in on Van Jones, challenging what he saw as a drift into woke orthodoxy that he believes doesn't resonate with everyday Americans. True to form, Maher didn't pull any punches. When the discussion veered into territory he considered extreme, he cut it off without hesitation, keeping the debate firmly in his wheelhouse.
For a guy who's not an official surrogate, you're on the waiting list. What did the panel think of Trump's stint as fry cooker at McDonald's? And it's, I already addressed this. It's like they see him differently.
I think it's brilliant. I think it's brilliant.
Yes.
I think when you have somebody who is a world famous superstar, who's a billionaire, et cetera, and they do something you don't expect, it's brilliant media. And I think we gotta acknowledge that this guy is beating the pants off of us with these so-called publicity stunts. It gets into everybody's feeds, and people who are not looking at politics will look at that. I think we just have to have more fun ourselves. We were having a great time during the Democratic convention. If we have more fun, if the Democratic Party is a party of fun, people will join it. We should be doing crazy stuff too.
One more thing. It's like, don't immediately just go to, I hate him for that.
Yeah.
Which is but everybody I know here in Hollywood does that. And it's like, you're first of all, you look weak. You look weak. You look like you're so easily gotten.
Yes.
You look like you overreact to anything. I think politics comes out of personality. I'm going to do something extensive on this one day, but personalities. Your personality first. I know people who are conservative politically because I know them. That's just who they are.
Yeah.
They're squares. and that's okay. And there are people who just they think Trump is fun like that. I don't get it, but I don't get Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift? Pure class. Kamala Harris? That's another story entirely. Democrats, at this point, aren't exhausting people with their policies or even their ideas, but with a constant cycle of outrage. It's not persuasion anymore, it's pressure. A playbook that demands total agreement and punishes any step out of line. And here's the twist. If a backlash comes, I don't think it'll be sparked by some authoritarian hardliner. It could come from someone like Harris. Her tone, her style, her relentless energy, they rub people the wrong way in a way that goes beyond politics. It's grating. To be clear, this isn't about pushing extremes. But if public frustration reaches a breaking point, it might be a delivery, not her policies, that lights a fuse.
Not that I'm comparing them, but I'm just saying.
I bet you would have bumped me for Taylor Swift too.
What's this?
You would have bumped me for Taylor Swift.
And I'm, of course I would.
Everybody else is turning you down.
I'd bump Kamala for Taylor Swift. She's a. Yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I agree with you.
She's a classy person, and the success she's had, the influence she's had is amazing. I just,
Not your cup of tea.
Nikki Glaser was doing my podcast, and I said, I don't get this, Nikki. You've been to 18 concerts. Tell me. And she's like, the music is so amazing. And she said, just watch the Eras tour. It's a 3-hour thing on Apple, I think. And okay, I did not move the needle at all. This is not great music. To me, that's just me. I don't get her music, and I don't think Trump's jokes about Arnold Palmer's dick are funny, but other people do. It's not relevant.
So for those of us who love Taylor Swift, and I'm a big Swiftie, that is some of the fun that Kamala Harris is bringing into politics. So I did a Swifties for Kamala kickoff in Nevada, where I was just campaigning for her. We got all this energy, exchanging friendship bracelets and having fun. So there's a lot of joy there, Taylor. And
Let's be honest. When people claim there's nothing entertaining about Donald Trump, I just don't buy it. Love him or hate him, the man has undeniable presence. He's unpredictable, bizarre, and often unintentionally hilarious. I know plenty of people whose politics I strongly oppose, yet I still find them charismatic or funny, and Trump is the ultimate example. He's a living caricature with a sense of timing that often feels like accidental comedy gold. You don't have to support him to admit he has an oddball charm that makes him almost impossible to ignore.
Not knock yourself out. I love all the joy and all the everything that, she does great stuff, but, I just don't get the music. All right. What are your thoughts on the Menendez brothers' potential being released on parole? And is it a positive sign for proponents of criminal justice reform?
I'm not exactly binge-watching every episode of the Menendez brothers docuseries, but the thought of Kamala Harris sitting down on Joe Rogan's podcast, now that would be something. Lately, Harris has been steering clear of the big stage, sticking to smaller events, but even those haven't gone smoothly. Remember that rally she hyped with Beyoncé, and then Beyoncé never performed? Total PR disaster. It feels like she's avoiding major interviews because every time she steps into the spotlight, her approval numbers dip. Personally, I find her energy overwhelming, always at max volume, and maybe that's why we haven't seen her as much recently. Anyway, what did you think of Bill Maher's recent clash with Van Jones and his comments about Jared Polis, who honestly gives off serious Tim Walz vibes? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to share, and subscribe for more straight-shooting political commentary.